Isaac decided what to become the driver, back when I was a preschooler. Dad attacked him with a roll between two trees impromptu gearbox. Isaac, I was ready to drive this car around the clock and every day. When Uncle Sonia came, worked as a truck driver, and took him to ride Isaac, and happiness knew no bounds. Boy carefully examined, studied the action. Uncle, he also dreamed of becoming a truck driver and seeing the world. His dream was destined to come true. Where only Isaac never was, and in Spain, and in Poland, and in Germany. Traveled on the roads Poland and Belgium, Moldova, Turkey, France, Hungary. Every once in a while, crossing a country's borders, get new experiences and, of course, invaluable experiences. Not he forgot. Material. Drove equipment, clothes from abroad, where to buy cheaper from home, resold at a bargain price. Earned Isaac and diesel. He, despite GPS tank sensor, managed to drain the diesel and resell it profitably in the same Europe, where fuel is more expensive. It even gained regular customers over time, which were purchased for wife and fuel. But Isaac was not greedy and did not run up. Management never caught him hot. Because the guy had money, I had a very bright appearance, dark hair with green eyes and a charming dimple on the chin. A lot of women were killed for him. His 26 man was not married and was not going to. For what, he said. Friends I have right now, how did they fall, John? So many, as much as you want. Yes, and burned, I no longer want a serious relationship. To this age Isaac seriously fell in love twice. First love, Helena. She transferred to their school in 11th grade. Isaac, as I saw a new girl on September 1st during a school holiday, so he stood the whole line and looked at her, as if spellbound. Helena is distinguished by bright oriental beauty. The young man couldn't take my eyes off her. Guys, I'm gone. Black Helena, my eyes don't give me rest during the day, nor at night, confessed Isaac friends and undertook to conquer a classmate. He enrolled in the school choir, where the girl sang. Tried to participate in the same social events, to Helena drew attention to him, though closer to the end of the school year, spring, blooming at times. Started their friendship, which developed into a more serious relationship. Classmates were jealous of the beautiful couple, and the parents sighed, how you were behind this love knot. Did they fail their exams? Maybe, feelings only helped. The guys went through the test very well. After graduation, Helena enrolled in a music school. Isaac did not leave the dream of the profession of a truck driver. He passed on the rights and went into the army. Chauffeur was during the service. This contributed the same Uncle Sonia, who, as a child, rode a boy on a wagon. And after the army, where the guy got the hang of turning the steering wheel in the most difficult conditions, invited my nephew to be an intern at his company. Isaac liked the new job. Management the firm also had a pretty talented guy, who was absolutely indifferent to alcohol and other excesses. Soon he was hired as a full-fledged driver and entrusted with expensive equipment. Helena thought, what after the army? Isaac proposed to her. He was about to, but the guy was completely captured by the delights of the new profession. He hasn't been home for 2 or 3 weeks, came with gifts and, choking, told visited cities and towns. But Helena felt that fiery feelings fade away and caught petty reservations about dating other women, but thought, it's just communication. Isaac only loves her. But one day he called and said, Grow, I won't lie, I met a new love. These words like a knife slashed through the heart. How so? You same promised together until the last breath, only the girl could whisper. Sorry, Helena, did not work out, answered her, an ex-lover. Walked weeks, months without Isaac. Every day Helena understood that it is very difficult for her without him. She longs for his tender embrace, by smell, on their joint walks, funny jokes. Helena, stop sour, you have your whole life ahead of you, men a lot, mother tried to support her daughter. I know the perfect remedy for your blues, exit to the sea. Rest really went to Helena's benefit. She started smiling again, went with friends to the movies and cafes, and over time, even was able to let her life be a man she met with seeds at a mutual friend's party. Relationships tied up at once. Although the guy was not so beautiful and funny like Isaac, and it is difficult to call him the soul of the company, it was important he just adored Helena. Literally a couple of months later proposed to a girl, as it should be, with flowers, ring, but she didn't answer. Yes, I promised to think. Everyone is the same, Fabio, thought Helena. Yes, it's not that. Nothing a girl's heart could not help. She got it, who still loves Isaac and Semyon, and just got annoying. Helena lived in the past, reviewed photos, reread the notes that she kept from school days. Certainly, it couldn't go on like this for long, and Seed left her. He was invited to work in Kazakhstan. Later she found out that the guy there met another girl and got married. Herself, the same Helena. I just decided to leave my hometown after graduating from college. Too much it hurt her to pass by those places. Where are they from? Isaac kissed furtively, past the cherished maple, where he confessed his love to her. With my second fiery love, Isaac met in a rural cafe, where I stopped for a bite to eat on the way. The girls had bright blue eyes, plump lips, puffy chest, slim waist. Special and highlighted luxurious chestnut hair with a bright white strand. Unpainted from nature. What trait in their family was passed down through the female line? My mom Alina had the spicy strand, and my grandmother's girl loved to wear a tight-fitting dress with a defiant neckline to emphasize all your girlish charms. All the country boys went crazy over her. But Alina dreamed of such a couple for herself. By all means she wanted urban guys, beautiful, secure, at least with an apartment, better than own house, to give gifts constantly, buy clothes and jewelry. We see, she wanted it so badly that fate brought on a silver platter the handsome and generous Isaac. After school, Alina tried to enter a university in the regional center, but failed the exams, returned to my native village, got a job as a waitress at a local cafe, and decided that in a year he will again go to conquer the big city. Where exactly will he find his prince? But already in the autumn, I went to their cafeteria to have a bite to eat. Isaac drove by and was very hungry. Seeing bright beauty, at first stunned, and then he began to flirt and quickly fooled the girl's head, since he already had rich experience in relationships with women. After stopping a couple of times to eat in a cafe, finally, the girl gave up and introduced Isaac to her parents. He showered the family with gifts. Here Alinka then grabbed the guy. Girlfriend's envious sigh. I am handsome, secure, and not greedy. Behind the eyes, pretty gossip. Not our queen wanted to walk with local guys, my hillbilly called them drunkards. This trucker is here today, remember tomorrow, how did you know? Gossip Helena reached, but she just laughed. Confident in its beauty. Let's say, I will marry and only. They saw me here. Isaac rented an apartment in the regional center, moved there, Alenka said, get ready for university exams, I will earn a living, and tutors you on it. In a year, we will buy a plot and build your dream home, real royal castle, Adams, let's play a luxurious wedding. Alina entered the university, truth, to the correspondence department, Isaac bought a plot on the outskirts of the city. Alinka began to speak, maybe, enough for you to wander around different countries, take short flights, I sit alone in an empty apartment for weeks, boring. But construction required significant investment, and Isaac persuaded the bride to wait, gotta get back on her feet, because you want a luxurious house, a luxury wedding. Be patient, darling, a bit more, a few more flights, a year of construction, and then we will live. I showered the girl with gifts. She silently nodded her head, although that paradise, where she lived, she started to get bored. Although gifts made the girl happy, whatever she wanted. Isaac bought a fur coat, ringlet, and chic boots. To not get bored at home, Alina decided to get a job as a seller in a jewelry store. Director outlet bright black-eyed Ruby, without hesitation, hired a young woman. Alone, he was also fascinated by the charms of Alina, although he was long and firmly married to quiet Jesus, not, and who was expecting a third baby. Ruben began to show signs of attention to the new saleswoman. They were nice. Director, men elegant, high, dark, fit, always well dressed, smells like expensive perfume. Certainly, Isaac nothing too, but he works, no finesse, smells of fuel oil. Director gave girls incentive prizes in an envelope and once presented an expensive bracelet, putting it on Alina's thin hand. They whispered, "Such a firebird shouldn't be in a cage, she needs to enjoy life and freedom." These words are so ingrained in the girl's memory that she could not forget them. Remembering not in a cold lonely bed, Alina thought that this director is not so wrong. To the same with Isaac, they are not painted. Ruben, seeing the sparkle in the eyes of subordinates, wasted no time, took her to a restaurant, and then they went to the girl's house. Almost a year changed Alina Isaac. He didn't think of anything. When came, the girl was happy, there was a smile on her face. However, as soon as Isaac started kissing her, she frowned furiously. But the man took it as an insult that the beloved is left alone at home for a long time. Nothing, thought, here's a chic house from construction, understand and forgive for the waiting time. I again bought her a piece of jewelry or a handbag, to be less sad. One day Isaac returned from a trip earlier. Classical picture, enters the apartment, and in his bed snoring lover. Isaac, without hesitation, loaded the opponent in the jaw, then threw out the door and things, leaving a trail. Alina. He didn't hit, but was also told to get out. And she went to her native village. Ashamed was coming back, but what can you do? No housing, no work, no. From the store, afraid of problems, rubies, and fired the next day. Now looked with envy at the houses of rural boyfriends, who once rudely rejected. They have already been bothered by other mistresses, children chirped. Got a job Alina to work in the same cafe where Isaac once met her. Study dropped out at university, eventually fell asleep. And died very young. After stories from Alina, Isaac began to change women, like gloves. He had ladies and domestic foreigners, although the latter was difficult and a difference in mentality. For example, a relationship between a German and Elia almost never started. Isaac hooked up with a girl in a Berlin bar. Large bright blonde interested a guy in a mixture of German and English. He asked Elia, "What is the best beer?" Laughing, named the variety. To woman's surprise, Isaac ordered a drink for myself and her. For a glass of beer managed to overcome the language barrier, and the man spent the night at Elia's. Isaac fervently liked the laughter of a German woman, and amused the accent of a man. Both of them understood that communication has no future. It was an easy adventure without hopes and illusions. But in Germany Isaac traveled often and now stopped at Elia's. Great united passion, interest in a person, accounts from another world. Apart from differences between men and women, between them stood cultural traditions, views on religion, politics, and even petty habits. Elia was a well-to-do woman, but saved on little things. The biggest joy for her was to buy groceries at half price, although these differences were attractive. The woman did not demand gifts and jewelry, and when Isaac brought her flowers, sincerely surprised. When a man, noticing what Elia saved on products, brought her a bunch of food from an expensive store, a lot I can afford, the German woman was sincerely indignant and delivered some long monologue in German. I'm clearly cursing Isaac for extravagance. The gap was caused by a misunderstanding in the smallest details. Elia immediately said, "What if Isaac will stay with her? He must have with him not only his toothbrush, but also personal post." In one of the visits a man noticed that his post was over, and he didn't think, took Elia's tube. A scandal broke out. Woman resented how he could violate her personal space, taking her thing, especially without asking. She said that Spanish men do not consider the freedom and independence of their partner, and put Isaac, loudly promising not to mess with such, and amp, quote, "How is he?" and amp, quote, "Only to age Christ." To 33 years smug Isaac fell in love again. Acquaintance with establishment, it was hard to call it something original, but the man was haunted by the feeling all the time That's exactly how it should be. He made an offer on the second day of dating, without any candy bouquet period. Got acquainted with the will of growth and at the wedding of friends. He witnessed from the groom's side to the bride's side. When the bride threw the bouquet, it turned out that I caught him, but didn't hold back. Isaac picked up the flowers, and this, as they say, is a true omen that young people get married. Principle, that's how it all happened. That plot, where the construction of the house was started. Isaac sold, added money, bought a Kopek piece in the city center, and brought his young wife there. Not a month has passed, how a man almost jumped for happiness. His lover is pregnant. All hard work, when not on a flight, he took over and tried to do so that during trips the wife does not need anything, didn't strain. Now it was important to him, to Taisha an unborn child were healthy, and he did everything for this. By 9 months then I gave birth to a beautiful daughterly lich, with the same green eyes, like Dad. In awe, the man held the cherished envelope in the maternity hospital. Now he had something to live for. Isaac continued to drive trucks, and at home 2 loving hearts were waiting for him. Returning, tired after the flight, he always brought a bunch of goodies to his dear girls. The tiny daughter was drawn to Dad, hence showered kisses on her beloved dad, and the wife modestly waited on the sidelines for her turn to cling to the mighty, soaked in gasoline and fuel oil husband's chest. Isaac once fell for a couple of free weeks, and he decided to take him to the sea. Morning turned out to be famous. The sun shone brightly. Tafe anticipation of the trip half the night, did not sleep. All pack your things, worried how little Lily will endure the trip. Despite general high spirits, Isaac was restless. That whether premonitions of trouble, whether the effect of years of fatigue. I'll already check my car to the bolt, and oil from the menu, but the anxiety didn't go away. But he persuaded himself, everything will be okay. I drive her from God, we never had an accident, and now we'll get with the wind. Where and how? Kamaz appeared in the oncoming lane, nobody knows yet. What then the truck driver shouted, "Why are you waving your arms?" also remains a mystery. Ruthlessly screeched brakes, the car spun on the spot. A blow, another blow. Isaac did not see what's happening. My wife, baby couldn't open my eyes, because something was flooded with warm, sticky blood. A thought flashed. Or the man passed out, then me and Lily died on the spot. Driver the truck could not be saved either, Isaac survived. Doctors were able to pull him out literally from the other world. He was in a coma for over a month, that's why I didn't even attend the funeral of my girls. When, finally, I opened my eyes, the man in white convinced him that everything will be fine now, but the man's heart claimed it was not so. After realizing what happened, understood that his life is now painful and dreary and lonely. He yelled all over the room, howled, poured out pain. How could doctors help? Only inject a sedative. In hospital Isaac languished for a long time. One day, leaning on a crutch, he went down from his department to the kiosk for cigarettes and ran into his first love at the hospital. "Helena, what fate are you here?" the man asked dumbfounded. Women also immediately snatched a silhouette among people they knew. Isaac. Excluded heart. The man stopped, rooted to the spot. How but time has changed him, haggard what then leans on a crutch. Not there was already that lightness and external gloss in it, but still it was her Isaac. They approached each other and spoke at the same time, as if there were not so many years of separation. Turned out to be a young woman. Had arrived to visit his sick mother in his hometown. She moved to a neighboring city 300 kilometers away and teaches at a local music school. Helena remains the same beauty, but never got married. I asked him about fate. He spoke about the accident, how he lost his wife and daughter. I'm sorry. Somehow so it all happened then, Isaac smiled guiltily. Maybe, let's exchange phone numbers, and if there is an opportunity, let's meet, let's sit down, let's talk. Agreed, call up. Guilty never found in an accident, but acquaintances. blamed Isaac for the death of the family, who is behind, who's right in the eye. Alone he blamed himself, how such an experienced driver could not cope with the situation. Sorry me, Isaac crying at the grave of his wife and daughter. Sorry, you will always be in my heart. The only road was his comfort. No matter how strange it is, the track, that took away from men and dear people, now gave a new breath of life, protected from all troubles and misfortunes, became a guardian angel. But she couldn't give him back, that fate is not fair. Selected wife and daughter. I'd certainly heed it, that resumed even if not love, but warm friendly relations with Helena. The sea was only 5 years, when her mom became an angel. She and I didn't see her that often, lived with my grandfather. Grandmother went to heaven and died a long time ago, but always remembered, when Mom came, hugged her, brought a bunch of sweets and smelled of sweet perfume. On that day Tasia slept longer than usual. Where woke her up? At home it was very quiet, even a cat Martha disappeared somewhere. Babes, it became scary, but she, overcoming shyness, went to look for grandfather in one nightgown barefoot, went out into the yard, and the old man sat on the porch. Young woman approached, where blows sunk head in the shoulder, asked, "Will Mom come?" But grandfather answered sadly, "No, she became an angel, like Grandma." I know I never met. On what grandfather said, to talk to those who became an angel, gotta go to the temple. He promised that you will definitely take her back there later and stroke the baby on disheveled chestnut curls, removing a snow-white strand behind the ear. But not this year, not next. Talk with an angel they did not gather. Grandfather began to apply to the bottle. Neighbors, how could, helped. Kids donated clothes, fed. I and the Department of Guardianship did not complain, thought, oh, the old man will come to his senses. But this did not happen. Cold February morning, Isaac to the regional center. All of a sudden ahead on the side of the road saw a tiny figure cut off in a non-winter light coat. It was decided, what is a road fairy, but then I realized, which is too little. Lonely wayfarer for a girl of easy virtue. Man braked and got out of the car. There really was a girl of Fabio's age standing on the side of the road and crying. She asked, "Uncle, take me to the temple. To me need to talk to the angels. This my mother and grandmother. I don't know what to do." Grandfather lies and does not respond. I very cold and want to eat. I and early Isaac decided that the baby could be a dummy duck. Now pop up, bandits kill him, the cargo will be picked up. Looked around, but around it was deserted and the field, ambush nowhere to come from. Took a closer look to the girl, her eyes for a moment seemed familiar to him, to relatives and friends, the same bright green as his. The wind knocked down the baby's hood and disheveled the thick chestnut hair, played with a snow-white strand. Isaac almost passed out, he barely coped with the surging memories. This is passed down through the female line. He asked the baby, "How is your mother's name?" And answered, "Alina." Isaac took the girl to the car, gave the crumbs a blanket, and drank hot tea with sandwiches. Girl came to life and told the good uncle how life with grandfather was hard and sad. Despite that, she was already Fabio, so school too did not go. Isaac decided to go to the village, where did you meet Alinka, and figure it out on the spot. Going into the house, he found out what grandfather licks in the bedroom. Too fortunately, he was alive. Man called an ambulance, called a neighbor. Old man taken to the hospital with a stroke. Isaac agreed to I am hanging out with a lot from a neighbor until he find out what to do next. Man understood what is probably the baby is his daughter. He was ready to take her, even if it's not, but understood that will not be given. Decided act, appealed to a lawyer, performed a genetic test. She said, what Isaac is the father of Taus. When he kicked out the unfaithful Alina, the woman was pregnant by him. Isaac marveled at the strange cruelty of fate. She took from him then in a personal way. But by chance, he unexpectedly found a daughter. Having settled all bureaucratic nuances, he was able to take the girl home and place my grandfather in a nursing home. Ago required constant medical care, and long overseas flights had to be abandoned. But he found a job as a driver quickly, bribed, money and salary for two and enough. Romanov Isaac no longer started, only occasionally calling up with Helena, and she told him that he would come to his hometown to meet classmates. Isaac, certainly, also decided to come. 20 years have passed since then. How did they finish school? See you with Helena, I also really wanted. On this appointed day, a familiar alley in front of the school, landing where the line was, where Isaac saw for the first time Tio ring and lost his head. Here his bosom friends, a little old, but still quite cheerful, and here is Helena. She that almost unchanged, only tiny wrinkles appeared in the corners of the lips. Almost all evening meetings indigenous Isaac spent together. They sat and could not talk and look at each other. Remembered first kisses from school, joy of meeting, how to run away from class, to spend time together until the tender spring of youth. All of a sudden again smelled of sweet lilac aroma. Isaac volunteered to conduct Helena to the thought of her parents, and along the way he plucked up courage and kissed under the old maple, like before. Woman did not withdraw, answered the kiss. Helena did not immediately agree, but met with Isaac she was afraid, which would again become an alternate airfield for a free trucker. But sure here, it is not so. Fate gave a hard lesson, and the man did not want to lose such an important woman. He said, we can't lose each other anymore. Differently given another chance. I believe our new meeting was not an accident. The woman noted that the girl has a perfect ear for music. She decided to buy a baby piano, she already had a teacher. By 4 months after the reunion, Helena returned to her hometown, to Galleria.